What's up, everybody? You're watching Model Aviator. I'm Adam. This week we've got something a little bit different for you. We're kind of testing the waters. We're thinking about starting a new series on the channel. If you follow the channel, you'll probably know this. If not, check out our playlist. We have a lot of different types of episodes. Obviously, we do reviews. We also do scale flights. We feature other model aviators and their unique models, challenges, all kinds of things. What we want to do is come up with a format where we can show you some of the pieces in our hangar. We've got airplanes that have been here for years. They're very interesting. Some airplanes that are fairly new that don't really fit a category where we do a review or anything like that. But you might really enjoy hearing the story, how they came to become part of our hangar, and maybe enjoy seeing them fly. So if that is something you'd be interested in, let us know in the comments and we'll keep this going. And we're going to test the waters with a bucket list airplane and a fairly new acquisition for us, the Hangar 9 Christen Eagle. My love for Christen Eagles started when I was a kid, and boy am I showing my age. There was a show called That's Incredible. And I remember one night my folks and I were watching the show and they featured the Eagles Aerobatic team. That was Charlie Hillard and company. They flew 3 souped up Christen Eagles, and on the show they chained their 3 airplanes together, took off, did an aerobatic flight, and landed in formation, in a 3-plane formation with chains on the airplanes. Now you got to remember, this was probably early 80s. The internet wasn't invented yet. There was no YouTube. Video games had been invented, but they kind of sucked. When it comes to visuals, you just didn't have the stimuli you had today. For a kid watching that on TV, that was the coolest thing that I had ever seen at the time. Fast forward to me being a little bit older, being a teenager. I was learning how to fly with my brother. We were attending a lot of air shows, and there was a local Eastern captain named Glenn Fretz that actually performed in a Christen Eagle 2. And we saw Glenn at a fly-in, I want to say it was at Bob Abernathy's private strip, and I got a ride with Glenn in his Christen Eagle, and that was just the most amazing ride that I'd ever taken. I didn't get any stick time on it. It was just a ride. But let me tell you, he wrung that thing out. He finished the day off with a Lumpshavak, which was the first time I'd ever been exposed to any kind of negative G. I wasn't crazy about that. But the rest of the flight was just absolutely awesome. And from that point on, there was just no chance that I was not hooked on these airplanes. So that's how a Christen Eagle came to be the airplane that had to be in the hangar. I love all aerobatic airplanes, but this is my favorite of all time. And full disclosure, I've had a couple of smaller Christen Eagles in the past. Could not get those to fly as well as I felt like a Christen Eagle should fly. I knew something bigger would be better. And I kind of knew all along that Hangar 9 would end up being the airplane that I would go for. This airplane's been around for about 12 years. It's been available for a long, long time. I've had my finger hovering over the add to cart button and just never pulled the trigger. The point of contention for me was the power system. It had a much bigger, heavier motor than an airplane this size really needs. You had to fly it on 8S, which means you needed 2 big 5,000 4-cell packs. It was just a heavy power system and really inefficient for an airplane this size. My plan was to put together a 6S powered system myself that was much lighter. Got to looking at the airplane after watching a new YouTube channel called Alexander Coates. He's an aerobatic pilot, has one of these. Really enjoy watching him, and he kind of inspired me to take a look at the Hangar 9 Christen Eagle again. So I did. Turns out Gary Wright, who is Horizon Hobby's electric power guru, he does a lot of things for Horizon, but his main area of expertise is electric power systems. He stuck his head under the hood of this thing and completely redid the power system. Now they're using an Avian motor, an Avian ESC, a 16.7 or 8 Zor prop, one 5,000 milliamp 6-cell pack. The power system is much lighter, so the plane overall is, as a result of that, it's more efficient and it makes more power. I was in. So we purchased this thing in September, and over the Christmas break in mid or late December, took a couple days to get this thing together, and we flew it in January. More often than not, when I dive into a Balsar, particularly if it's more scale in nature, I modify a lot of stuff. Haven't really done that with this airplane yet. We intend to at some point, but so far the only thing I've changed out are the main wheels to soft foam Dubro wheels. In the future, we'll do scale flying wires, and I'm going to redo the hatch, kind of redo the cockpit area, make it a bit more scale. I can probably shave some weight off of that while I'm at it. When it comes to components, we're running the Avian 5065 450 kV motor, an Avian 100 amp smart brushless ESC, high-tech D645 servos. Those are high voltage, high torque metal gear servos. We use a single 5006 cell. We've got a Zor 16.7 prop up front. We're driving it with our NX20 Spectrum transmitter and a AR637T receiver. Our all-up weight rate of rock and roll is about 9.5 pounds. And that's the lowdown on our Christen Eagle. Time to fly this thing for you. Our idea for this series is to call it From the Hangar. So be sure to leave us a comment. Let us know if this is something that you'd like to see more of. What you're going to see is my 4th flight ever with this airplane. We took it out, spent 3 flights getting it kind of tuned up, and this is my first attempt at a scale airshow flight with the Christen Eagle. So we hope you enjoy that. We're going to do something that will be unique to this airplane. If this does become a series, we won't always be able to do this, but this airplane and all the components are still available, so we will list them and leave links to those if you'd like to take a closer look. You enjoy the flight, happy flying. We'll see you next week with something cool with wings. The Hangar 9 Christen Eagle really epitomizes bigger flies better. It's the best flying Christen Eagle I've had an opportunity to fly. It is point and shoot, very stable. You're going to notice on this takeoff that the gear seems a bit bouncy. That's more our runway than the gear, to be honest. This was a perfect day to film an aerobatic plane. Sunny, with enough clouds to give some context to quite a few of these maneuvers. This Christen Eagle does some very impressive tail slides. was a decent amount of wind on this day, and the Christen Eagle penetrates very well. It took long enough to put one in the hangar, but I can't tell you how glad I am that it's there. It's a brilliant flying airplane and a brilliant looking airplane. Really looks the part and flies so realistically. I have to be paying attention when landing the Christen Eagle. It doesn't land like a trainer. It takes rudder skill, throttle modulation, and you have to be on your toes. It's challenging in the way that the full-scale Christen Eagle is, and I like that.